Insulin resistance, this is part 1 of 5. We've been hearing a lot about insulin resistance lately, and I feel like posting a set of short clips on what this is and how to address it. Please understand that this is not a medical advice, and if you suspect to have diabetes, hypoglycemia, or insulin resistance, you will need to consult your healthcare professional. Don't discontinue any medications that you're on without consulting your doctor, and this is for informational use only. So, a lot of people nowadays have challenges with something called insulin resistance. What is this? You will often hear insulin resistance referred to as prediabetic or prediabetes, metabolic syndrome, or syndrome X. Unlike other disease that have some sort of symptom, this can be very quietly happening in the background, and it causes a series of ailments which it can go unnoticed, and or if we notice it, we go and get treated for. So now, treating the symptoms doesn't necessarily cure the root cause. There are sometimes subtle signs and symptoms, and the goal is to address the issue before it presents us with serious symptoms. Insulin resistance has shown to cause heart disease, heart issues, diabetes, stroke, various types of cancer, overweight, etc. This ailment doesn't belong only to overweight people, by the way. The person can be very thin and still in trouble. So let's see what this is. Insulin resistance relates to how your body processes simple sugars like glucose and long strands of sugar called carbohydrates. Glucose is an example of simple sugar. This is the one your body digests and absorbs quickly because your intestines don't have to spend time and energy to break it into smaller pieces like it does with complex carbohydrates. Fructose is another example of simple sugar. Although it's absorbed differently than glucose and doesn't affect insulin the same way, um, also sucrose, the white crystals that you put in your tea and your coffee, is a mixture of glucose and fructose. So the carbohydrates you take in when you eat foods like potatoes, bread, rice, plant-based foods, etc., are not simple sugars. They're composed of long strands of simple sugars like glucose and fructose. These carbohydrates are also known as starches, and they have to be broken down into simpler sugars before your body can absorb them. This breakdown process sort of begins in your mouth through action of an enzyme called salivary amylase, right? So glucose is the source of fuel that cells prefer to use for energy. Cells need insulin, which is a hormone that is produced by the pancreas to take up glucose. So for the most part, glucose can't enter the cells without help of insulin. Insulin is like the key that unlocks the door of a cell for the glucose to get in. In the case that insulin is missing, the cells would essentially be starving for glucose, even though there might be plenty. So this happens to people who have type 1 diabetes and don't make enough insulin. People with type 1 diabetes have lost the ability to produce insulin. This was the part 1. Please watch all 5 clips that I have on this and let me know if you have any questions. Be the light.